What's going on YouTube? It's Marvin here, and today I am going to be talking memory cards. When I was going through my A7R4 buying process, I came up against a couple of obstacles that I worried about. I wasn't too sure that I could keep the memory cards that I currently owned and I use for my A6400. When I was looking for the right answers and I was searching on YouTube, I didn't find anyone who kind of put my mind at ease. So today I won't really be giving you a technical and data-driven analysis of my thoughts on what you should get. Most of the memory cards out there will be okay for what most of you are doing. So let's get into it.
Let me take the friction from your lips, and I'ma love you, girl, doing me.
So my first initial thoughts are, if you are purchasing an A7R4 or an A7S3 or a very, very good video or photography high megapixel camera, basically something that's going to use a whole load of data, you will own some form of SD card. For some reason, it always seems to be SanDisk. I've used their cards for as long as I can remember. They've never given me any issues. People who generally have issues with SanDisk cards probably buy them from the wrong places where they've been tampered with. I understand that memory cards do fail. I'm just saying that I believe SanDisk have done something correctly, and a lot of the time they don't fail. So moving on. Before I owned my A7R4, I had an A6400, which I'm currently recording on. I also had a GoPro. So I had the GoPro Hero, well, I have the GoPro Hero 7. And before that I had the Hero 5. So with all of those devices, I always used SanDisk cards from the micro SD, which I'll leave like right here, and then all the way up to the normal SD card, which I will leave right here. As I mentioned, probably the reason why you're here, you have concerns on what you may need to use to shoot. I'm here to tell you that if you are not shooting wildlife or sports photography, where you are going to have to be firing off your camera, like let's say you've got one subject and you are shooting, like you're just going, that is the only time where you will need to potentially upgrade your SD cards. So to start off, the reason why you need a memory card that can process things a bit faster than the older SanDisk cards is just time management. Ultimately, in everything that we do, the more money you spend doesn't necessarily always mean the better quality, but it does usually mean time is cut down significantly. Sony cameras, they shoot at a maximum of 100 megabits per second, which is equivalent to 12.5 megabytes, which is what we generally hear, megabytes per second. With that being said, this is where the information on the card becomes very, very useful. If you are deciding to go with a SanDisk card, what you'll need to look out for is either the U3 or the V30 logo. Generally speaking, we're in 2020, that's probably all that you're gonna see on the shelves. And that's okay. For a lot of us, that is okay. That is what I owned with my A6400, and I was made to believe that I needed to change that or do something different. Because I am somewhat of a amateur/professional. I only say amateur because I sometimes do shoot wildlife. Sometimes I do shoot sports. A lot of the time I do like to do portraiture, even though I'm not quite at the point where I'm doing enough of it. And at the same time, being a professional means you've taken money for your jobs, which I have done. So I'm somewhere in between. I'm still learning is what I'm trying to say. Don't feel pressured to go out there and get a new UHS-2 card or a V60 or a V90. Unless you are, once again, firing off in high continuous mode and you need your buffer to clear immediately. So instead of me talking all of this jargon, let me kind of give you a little bit more information behind the points that I'm explaining. So a micro SD card. There is nothing wrong with using one with an adapter. A lot of the time, I believe you'll only find them in a V30, which as I mentioned earlier, for most types of shooting, that is still okay. So going into the range of the SD cards, they are a bit bigger. And a lot of the time, this is where we get mixed up. We see write speeds of this, that, and the other over the front of them, 300 megabytes, 200, whatever it may be. And we think, okay, that's a great high number. But what we're missing, as I mentioned earlier, is that V number, the U or the V number. And that stands for minimum write speed. that unit is in megabytes, and as we covered earlier, Sony, for example, in video mode will only go to 100 megabits per second, which is equivalent to, once again, 12.5 megabytes per second. So a V30 card will cover the highest form of video and be reasonable when it comes to clearing the buffer of a camera in photo mode. Now, what is a buffer? A buffer is, well, I'm probably not the best person to explain it, but from my understandings, a buffer, think like the camera's got internal memory. Yeah, I think the stats are it's got like 4 gigabytes in it. Think that's what a buffer is. So the quicker the speed, the V number, I'll say this is the V number, buffer, V number, SD card. The quicker the speed, the quicker it's able to relieve the camera of the buffer duties. So I'll stress once again, if you are a portrait photographer and you are shooting in that style, it's not a necessity to have a V60 or a V90 card, and that will save you a hell of a lot of money. However, if you are someone that relies on speed and you are a sports photographer and you need to take information off of your machine as quickly as you can, then yes, it will probably be more beneficial to you to go with a V60 or a V90 card. Personally, in my purchasing experience, I decided to go with the Prograde. It was a mixture between good reviews, the right amount of space, and a V60 card. So a UHS-2 card will have 2 strips on it. Like I said, I won't get technical. It just means that it's gonna help it transfer a lot faster. The stats on this, I'm not too sure if you'll be able to see it, will show V60, meaning the minimum write speed will be 60 megabytes per second. Meaning on an A7R4, when I'm shooting uncompressed RAW and my file sizes are about 120 megabytes, it will take me approximately 2 seconds to transfer each file. A lot of the time, if you are shooting uncompressed RAW, it's gonna be in a setting where you are in a studio situation and you're trying to get that resolution out of every image. For sports photography, I'd shoot compressed and this would not be an issue. However, compressed files are just under 60 megabytes, so you get the gist. It will take about a second per photo that you shoot. So to wrap things up, I'm going to go out now. I'm gonna go and do some sports photography where I'm gonna shoot in continuous mode, and you're going to see exactly how quickly my buffer clears. Hopefully I don't get demonetized. Take my drive mode off of single shooting, put it on continuous high. So you'll see in the sequence that I take 5 images. Buffer clear. Sometimes the buffer will clear at the minimum write speed. Right. In some instances like this, it will clear really quickly. With Sony cameras, there is one more thing to worry about. If you are looking to switch from photography modes, whilst the buffer is clearing, it doesn't allow for certain modes to be changed. Anyway, I hope this has been enough information. Let's go back home. Nice and simple, but as I mentioned, this video is only to show you the realism of owning an SD card that is above V30. If you have any questions or if you feel that I am wrong or have misguided you, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you like this video and it's put your mind at ease, you know what to do. Press that blue like button. And for more tips, reviews, and tutorial videos, press that subscribe button, and I'll see you the next time I upload. Peace.
No one will stop us. Ain't no